You're on Blues and Beyond with Jim Carty, and I have the pleasure of an old friend, Tinsley Ellis, joining me today. How you doing, Tins?
Doing good, Jim.
Yeah, it's good to catch up, and you and I were just talking offline. The last interview I did with you was quite extensive about your background with the Heart Fixers, and working with people like Colonel Bruce and Widespread Panic, the Allman Brothers. So I'm going to leave a link to that in the description below, so people can check that out as well. But we really want to focus on this cool acoustic record you have out now, and the reason I really love it is your acoustic playing really enthralled me back in the day when I was just out of college. I think you did an acoustic tour, and I came up to you after the show at Harper's Ferry in Allston, Brighton, and I was like, "Oh my God, Tinsley, I had no idea you could do this acoustically." You said, "Jim, how do you think I learned?" The first thing I had in my hands was an acoustic guitar. So why don't you talk to me about that?
Yeah, that's really true. And I remember that tour. I think that was, Jim, that was about 30 years ago, almost 30 years ago,
You drove this
1995.
ginormous boat of a car across country
Yeah.
by yourself. I think it was blue. It was huge. I was like, the gas mileage, Tinsley. What are you thinking? He says I can
Well,
fit
at the
it in
time, it
even.
wasn't that bad. I've got a
No.
hybrid vehicle now. It's
Yeah.
50 miles to gallon. But
Yep.
yeah, I started on acoustic guitar. I saw the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show, and I begged my parents for a guitar, and they got me they rented me an acoustic guitar. They didn't want to
Oh,
hear
cool.
anything about any electric guitar or anything. They were hoping it was just a fad or a craze
Yep.
on my part. And I took a few lessons, and I started on acoustic, and I've always, I've written my songs on acoustic guitar, and so now I've kind of come full circle with this new all acoustic Naked Truth album.
No, and during the pandemic, you were in front of the computer playing acoustic an awful lot, and maybe you fell back in love with it. I don't know, or maybe you never fell out.
Never fell out of love, and I've put acoustic songs on my albums over the years, and I've done acoustic segments of my shows. So this is just the full extension of that, really.
Hmm. And the tunes that you do on here, um, on Naked Truth, some of them are tunes like by Son House, and some of them are originals. Do you want to talk to some of the tunes that you want to highlight for folks?
Well, it's certainly the opening track, "Put the Devil in the Room." That's R.L. Burnside influenced number, Hill Country Blues.
Hmm.
Fred McDowell started all that. He was the pretty much the pinpoint of it, and from there came the whole hill country movement right up to the North Mississippi All Stars, Cedric Burnside, of course, that's just a song that a riff that I've been messing around with, and Bruce Hampton used to tell us, "Put the devil in the room" when we go on stage back
I
in the
love it.
day. So I put that as a song title.
And I noticed on this recording, and I love RL, Junior Kimbrough, Big Jack Johnson, those guys, and some of their material marries that traditional blues with almost a trippy uh, trance vibe. And we all know that trance vibe of hitting a chord, or some repetition and then breaking out. Can you talk to that? Because certainly I know your music kind of mirrors that, and your friends like Widespread and so on.
Mm-hmm. I think the first time I ever heard any music that I would describe as that was Canned Heat, doing like "On the Road Again" and stuff like that. And of course, they were real ethnomusicologists, and they knew all about hill country blues,
Mhm.
and that sort of endless boogie thing they did, and then so when I became aware of people like Jesse May Hemphill and Junior Kimbrough, R.L. Burnside, it kind of reminded me of that trance-like quality that you're talking about, and
Yeah.
and people love to boogie on that, really.
Yeah, they did. I mean, back when we were younger, I mean, the dance floors would fill, and people
They
seem a
still
little more
do.
shy. Yeah, I know it. I know it. But they do it on a Tuesday night or a Wednesday night. People don't go out like they used to, I don't think. But thank God guys like you are keeping live music going. Now, you produced this one as well. So I hear on some tunes there's some rhythmic stuff, some claps, some little drum or drum machine. What did you do to augment on some tracks other than just your singing and playing on the guitar?
Well, I put a microphone on my foot. I put a heavy boot on and
Is that what
stomped.
you did? Hmm.
Yeah, so it sounds like drum, like a kick drum or something like that, but it's just me stomping my foot. And then the overdubs on the album would be on the opening track, "Devil in the Room." There's hand claps on that. I wanted it to sound like a party. So
Hmm.
that's the only really overdubs on the whole record. Everything else is live.
That's so cool. And were you able to make this at home? Do you have the wherewithal to do, or did you have to get into a studio and do this record?
But actually, 11 of the songs I did on in my studio, at two different locations actually,
Hmm.
and then the 12th song is "Death Letter Blues." And on
Hmm.
that particular song, I actually preferred the demo version of it over the studio version of it. So I included the demo version of that, and Eddie Ninevolt and his brother produced that for me.
I actually caught up with Eddie at the Briggs Farm Festival, and once he said he was from Atlanta, I said, "Oh, you must know Tinsley," and he's over the moon about knowing you, Tinsley. He's such a
Oh, that's
sweet kid.
great. What a
Yeah,
talented and great guy he
I
is.
really like him. I think he's going to go far.
I think he's going to go far too. And he's got a deep bag of tricks too, blues and soul and all kinds of music. And he
Yep.
keeps reinventing himself. And I thought the last album was great. And of course, the first album he had on Roof, which had the song Little Black Flies, I thought that was a hit song.
Hmm.
But the hit song thing is elusive. We zig and they zag.
Yeah, but he attracted the older crowd, and then I saw, all the younger people just went right up to the stage for his set that were at the
Yeah.
festival at Briggs Farm. And when you have that wide appeal, you've got something going on. And
Yeah,
it was great.
that's actually what drives pop culture is youth and image,
Right,
which
Mom,
which
rent me
means
that guitar, right?
I'm screwed. Neither.
You and me both. But so for guitars, did you just stick with like a National Steel and a Martin? I think I saw that in your bio, and that was it.
Yep, just stuck with a 1969 Martin D35 that my dad gave me when I graduated from high school,
Hmm.
and then I've got the 1937 National Steel guitar, which would have been the kind of thing that Son House would have used back in the day.
Mm, that's great. Well, you have just a lot of tour dates here, and I've been on radio and in blues societies up and down the Eastern Seaboard. So a lot of the places you're stopping, I've lived and been involved in the blues community. So hence a lot of those people subscribe to my channel. So I'm going to run down the dates. So you're coming to the Catherine Hepburn Cultural Arts Center on the 21st of March. The 22nd, you're in Medford, Mass. And of course, I started out under Holly Harris as her producer, and I'm sure she'll come out to the show at the porch. All our Boston friends there. Then you're off to Albany, New York on March 23rd, Sellersville, PA at the theater there, which is a great venue, on the 24th. The Iridium, which has really turned into the place for guitarists now that Les Paul has passed. They've filled their dates with just the greatest guitarists, don't you think, Tins?
Oh yeah, I mean Jeff Beck played there. I think he shot a video there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just shocked whenever I look at that. I mean, and you absolutely belong in there as well. Up to Portsmouth, New Hampshire, a great artsy community. You're at the Music Hall on the 27th. Fall River at the Narrows, legendary venue on the 28th. Back to Connecticut and Fairfield at Stage One, another nice venue. Um, and down to the Mid-Atlantic, you're playing Elkton Music Hall on the 30th and Ram's Head on the 31st. And then you head out to Oklahoma and kind of the Southwest after that. So you are a busy bee.
Well, not this is not normal behavior for a 66-year-old man to drive around in a car with a couple guitars. In fact, Alligator Records dubbed the tour "Two Guitars in a Car Tour,"
Oh, I love
and
it.
but people can look at my website, which is tinsleyellis.com, and see the scope of my madness and all the different tour dates coming up.
But you love the road. You're a
Oh
creature
yeah.
of the road.
Oh yeah, I'm the highwayman.
That's it. And you don't have to worry about, carrying the band. It's is it much more free wheeling a feeling when you're out there, just you and the couple of guitars.
Well, one would think, but it's a little scary. I'm used to walking around dark parking lots with in a group of 3 or 4 guys. Maybe I back when I had the evil one with me, nobody was going to mess with me, and
Definitely
now
not.
it's just me walking around. So that's a little scary. And then going up on the stage, it could be a big audience, maybe at a festival or something. They say, "Okay, go on out there and play," and it's just me. And
Mm.
I used to be able to sort of rest on the rhythm section, the groove of that bumping bass and pounding drums, and now it's just me stomping my foot. So I kind of feel like it may be freeing in some areas, but in general, it can be terrifying.
You do. You have your little microcosm family on the road when you do travel with a band,
That's
and
right.
it's a support system, and yeah, so I can see that as well.
I just did a about 60 or 70 shows with Marshall Ball. We did the whole country,
Wow.
both of us in the solo acoustic format, and then joining up at the end. And I was sorry to see that tour end. That's something that Jack Randall put together, and my agent Baron Ruth, and so there was a lot of camaraderie in that.
Good.
And this particular tour, it's I'm not a person who talks to themselves as they drive along or anything. So I talk to friends on the on the
The phone.
telephone, listen to satellite radio or listen to local blues radio if I can find it usually on the more on the left end of the dial, and
Mhm.
I try to keep occupied.
Good, good. That's all you can do, right? Well, it was nice visiting. Is there anything I missed that you want to impart to your fans?
Just just that this was the first area when I was in the Heart Fixers, and we were starting to put albums out on Landslide Records 40 years ago.
Mhm.
The Northeast was the first area outside of the Southeast that the Heart Fixers went to play, and we played at places like the Tam O'Shanter
Yep.
in Brookline. Was that Brookline,
That is Brooklyn.
Mass?
Yeah, it was right near my
Yeah,
alma mater, Boston College. Yes.
yeah, we'd play there, and we'd play at the Last Call there in Providence, and it was really the first area outside the South that we started playing, thanks to Room Full of Blues, and Duke Robillard kind of hosted me into the area, got me up there started, and so it's a very special time when I come back to the Northeast and play, especially with a new album.
Yeah. And thankfully, we did have those guys in Room Full of Blues and associated artists in the area. Lose a Guitar, Junior Johnson. We've had a lot of wonderful blues people. Chicago Bob, of course, of the Heart Fixers, off and on.
Oh, absolutely. And he had Boston roots as well.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, there was just this blues thing already happening, of course, in the folk blues revival where you're feeding from happened in Cambridge. And I
Sure did.
remember seeing Buddy Guy talking about playing the clubs right there in Harvard Square. Uh,
Yeah, and Dick Waterman, the late great Dick Waterman, who just passed away.
hmm.
Uh, he was from Boston, am I correct?
Yes, you're correct. Yep.
Yeah, he got me my first. Was influential in getting me my first record deal with Alligator Records in 1988.
I didn't know
He,
that.
he had just moved to Oxford, Mississippi at the time, and the Heart Fixers were playing there, and he kind of liked what we were doing, had us over to his house and showed us this amazing photography collection of Sun House and Fred
Hmm.
McDowell and young Bonnie Raitt and young Buddy Guy and Junior Wells,
Yep.
and he took an interest in me, and it turned into me having a solo career with Alligator Records in 1988.
That is just a great endorsement. And on that high note, I know you have other things to do that you got to run off to, but what a great memory. I remember afternoons with Dick or evenings at his photo exhibits too, and hearing his stories, and if he thought something special about you, well, then it must be true.
Yeah, at the time I didn't realize, I was in my 20s, and I saw the pictures and stuff, but I had no idea that he was the man who rediscovered Sun House and stuff like that, and put Buddy Guy and Junior Wells together, and
Yeah,
pretty amazing.
and
I
I'm in
was at the
touch
right place at the right time.
yeah, I'm in touch with Joe Beard and Chris Beard up in Rochester, and apparently, Son House lived next door to Joe Beard for years.
Yeah, I'm actually playing in the Rochester area uh, on well, gosh, the night after tomorrow, which would be the night before um, the show in at the Cape.
Hmm.
And I did an interview there in Rochester with the music writer, and he had no idea at all about any of the Sun House tie-in to Rochester. So
Oh
I
no.
schooled
Good,
him on
good.
it. And the article came out. He made it a big tie-in to Sun House, and then of course the disclaimer needs to be said. I'm no Sun House, but yeah, but I'm kind of hauling coals to Newcastle, as they say in England, and but anyway, it was a pleasure to give him an interview. It did help Sun House get a little press in the town where he was rediscovered working as a porter on the railroad, a
Yeah.
long ways away from the Mississippi Delta.
Well, my recent involvement with Joe Beard is that Bobby Christina, brother of Frank Christina, drummer for the T-Birds,
Mm-hmm.
he and
Mm-hmm.
I are putting out a double CD, a tribute to McIntyre Murphy, and Joe Beard, of course, came up in the Murphy family band as a kid, and so I actually knew that and told Bobby, I said we would be remiss in not including him, and so I looped him into the project, which is going to come out in June, and we're very excited about it. We have JMO from the Allman Brothers on there, Ronnie Earl.
Great, great, great.
Yeah,
I look forward to that very much.
yeah, definitely take a peek for it. All right, Tins, I know you got to run, but this was fun catching up a little bit, and we'll see you at the Kate in a couple of days.
I see y'all on the road.
All right, drive safe.
Bye bye.